Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Well, today we're going to jump in and take a look at tutorial number 7. That's right, 7 of the Trick or Treat Lane display build. We're going to focus really today on section 3, but I do have a surprise for you. You're going to get to see all 3 sections together. There's only one missing, and that's section 4, which we're going to get into here in a few days. So no street lights installed in this build. Nothing's wired up. There's no lights on. It's just simply buildings sitting. Still have to do a lot of detail work, but I wanted to kind of get you off of this tripod and kind of let you see what the whole thing is starting to shape into and how the modular sections, when they're put together, blend incredibly well together. That's the whole purpose of doing a modular section, is ease of storage. You can expand it at some point in the future, and I'll explain that as we're looking at it. And then it looks great when it's all put together, and you'll get to see all that. Hopefully you think it's as cool looking or starting to look pretty cool as I think it does as well. So with that, let's jump off of this tripod and take a trip into Trick or Treat Lane. Okay, so you can see it's starting to come together. The vision in my head is starting to come out onto the canvas, so to speak. So let's just kind of start down here at section number 1. Remember, this is the town square. I did take the liberty to add some more leaves. You can still see the glue drying there. Put some more leaves there. The glue is almost dry there. And so that is happening. I've got the trees out. The trees look, I don't know, I think they look fantastic. I've had a lot of discussions lately over the types of trees and what would work and what wouldn't. These work so well. And they look so good. If you kind of pan through the rest of the neighborhood, it's just so littered with fall trees. It just, the trees to me just absolutely add so much to this display. As we continue to look at section 1, not a whole lot of work left to do here. Maybe a little bit of detail work when it's all set up, but so far it's looking pretty good. And I'm backed up here against the kitchen table, so it's hard to get everything in focus. But then as you start walking from the little town square, and as you come out of Axel's costume store, or the costume shop, and then you walk down the roadway. Here's the walking, if you can't tell. You're walking down the roadway, and then you come into the Trick or Treat Lane neighborhood, right? And so this is kind of the meat and potatoes of this entire build. This is exactly the look that I was going for. Now, all in all, it's a little narrow. The streets are a little crowded, but you talk about the nostalgia centered around this this little street. I think it's pretty good. I didn't get the street light, the street signs out. I don't have the street lights in, and we'll be looking at those later. But as you just kind of zoom down this road, you can kind of see, and I'll try not to knock anything down here, but as you just kind of come down the road, you can see all of the detail that is being put in and how it's starting to kind of come together. All right, so we'll back out here and give you a better look in this direction. So the purpose of this was hopefully not to be able to tell where section 2 and section 3 start and stop. Now, you already know, because I've told you on the last video where they start and stop. And if you look real close down there, you can see the trick-or-treater with her mom and the little girl and a dog. You can see the crack in the road right there from a major earthquake that actually split those 2 pieces in half. And so that is the division line between section 2 and section 3. But from back here, it looks all cohesive. At least to me, it looks cohesive. Now, the bad part about this side here is actually going to be up against a wall where I'm going to display this. And so this will be the only look kind of from this angle, which I still think is really good. You can see all these houses over here quite well. And then as you come over here, there's going to be sort of a wall about right here where I stand. So this is about as much as you're going to see of this side of the house, or this side of the road, which is still pretty good. It's not going to be bad. It's still pretty good. It beats, a blank, I guess. And then obviously you can see the road curved down there. That's about as close right here as you're going to be able to get to that. So let me reposition, go on the other side, and we'll see what that looks like. Okay, so now we're on the other side, and you can kind of see coming this direction how Trick or Treat Lane is looking coming this way. And so again, going for the same type of view, you can see the hole where the street light is going to go right there, and they're all throughout. Trying to get there we go. And so just kind of walking down this side of the road, you can see how that would look if you were small enough and little enough to live inside this village. I know some of you said you'd like to do that. Trust me, I know the feeling, so would I. And so this will also be up against a wall here, or a ledge, I guess, maybe not the wall, but excuse me. So you'll have a little bit of a difficult view here as well. And then you can see here, right on the sink area where section number 4 is going to go. So all in all, not a huge display. When I look at it sitting up here, I'm thinking, wow, I should have made it 2 more boards long, but then what would I put in there? I'm out of trick-or-treat houses. I've got 1 more that we're gonna display right here, right beside this guy, facing this direction. That's gonna be the Peanuts house. We're gonna have a church over here, and then a pumpkin patch and a graveyard on the other side. And so there you'll have it. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention, and we'll go back and look at the other side, is when this road comes out, it's going to end like the other road, but it's not going to be, there's not going to be anything to block it off. So there is room then for expansion if at some point later in the season, or perhaps next year or whenever, I want to expand it, you'll be able to do that. And so what I'm talking about is this road right here kind of comes out and stops right there. But you could certainly just keep right on building and bring it out another base or 2 or whatever you wanted to do there. So plenty of room to do that if you had the desire to do that. But as you can kind of step back and see, I mean, the fall trees just really do the village so much justice. I mean, it almost looks like I'm flying over top of the village in a helicopter, or it's just a really cool scene with all these trees. And I'll tell you, almost the farther back you get, the better it actually looks with all the trees there. It absolutely looks like a fall village, which is exactly what we're going for. So hopefully this is starting to put it in perspective. I cannot wait to get section 4 started. I cannot wait to get section 4 done, and I cannot wait to get this displayed and get the lights on, because I think it's going to look absolutely phenomenal. Well, hopefully that gives you a better insight as to how these pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together, why I chose to build this as a modular display. It's just a lot easier to work on. And if you have that vision, that initial thought of the town square, 2 trick-or-treat lane pieces, and then part of a trick-or-treat lane ending into a graveyard, a pumpkin patch, and a church, and then you just kind of divide that out to the best of your ability. You saw back a couple of tutorials ago where I had to rearrange houses because they just simply weren't fitting. So you have to make some adjustments on the fly, but the overall vision is still there. It's still very clear, and it's starting to come out in the canvas, if you will, of how that's supposed to look. And the beauty of this hobby is, especially for me, is coming up with a creative idea, trying to determine how you're going to do that from what you envision in your mind, and then you start to see it materialize piece by piece by piece. And when it all comes together, it's just simply awe-inspiring, at least for me, to see it, because it's looking really, really good, just the way that I envisioned that it would. Quite honestly, I think it's looking better than I envisioned that it would. I am a little disappointed with the size. I thought it was going to be bigger, and I shouldn't be disappointed at all, because just because to me it looks like it should be bigger does not change the fact that it's going to go in a certain corner of our house that is regulated by the size. So the size is important in this case to put this piece exactly where I want to put it. So again, leaving those 2 rows open, one on the back side and one on the front side, gives me the opportunity and the option as we get further into the build, further into the season. Next season, I acquire 2 or 3 more trick-or-treat lane houses. 2 or 3 more houses. It just gives me the ability to expand and take this creation even further, even to a bigger table if the opportunity were to present itself. I'd love to have this set out and displayed in an area where you could walk around it, 360 degrees, but that's just not possible, at least in my home at this point in time. There's going to be a lot of wires. What you're not seeing is where are all the wires? Well, all the wires are just kind of dangling out the back right now. They will be. The holes are cut, they're tunneled underneath, you've seen that, and the wires will have to all go under there, all be tunneled, all be taped or floral pinned in so they won't come out. And then piece by piece, this is going to have to be put onto the table with all the wires coming out, falling into the middle of the table where they two are going to be probably 2 or 3 inches between them. All the wires are going to go down through there. I think I counted this morning, if the math is right, and it's probably not, but I'm looking at somewhere between 16 and 18 plugs to get this up and running. So I've got 2 large 10 plug strips that I'm going to use to plug this stuff in. It's going to be automated. It's going to be on an automation system in my home. And so it'll come on and off automatically, just like everything else. So I think when I'm setting this up, I will probably just kind of set this camera up in a corner and just kind of let it go. And then we'll just speed through and see how quickly, or maybe not so quickly, I can get this thing put together, plugged in, and lit up when it's all time to do that. I've already convinced my wife that I've got one more section. I will not be done with that section until sometime in the early part of August. And at that point, I'm going to have all the houses and all the trees already out of the boxes. I don't want to put them back in the boxes just to retake them out of the boxes a week or so later to set it up. So this will likely be the first thing that we set up, and it'll likely be early-ish August that we'll actually start setting this up in our home, which is perfectly fine with me. So you got that to look forward to. So hey, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I certainly think it's coming along quite well. I would love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear your feedback. And tell me what you think. Tell me what you think's missing. Tell me what you think we should do differently, or tell me what you'd like to see in that 4th build, and we'll try to see if we can incorporate some of that stuff. So hey, like I said, if you've liked it, make sure you click the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do that. The channel continues to grow, and it's only through your support that it is growing, by you subscribing to the channel. Share the video. And if you like it a lot, there's always that super thanks option. You don't have to do it, but I know a couple of you certainly have, and it does certainly make a difference. It helps me to offset some of the cost of the trees and the tools and everything else. And so I don't need it, but I absolutely appreciate it. It is not required, but it is certainly appreciated. So I do thank you for your support for me and quite honestly, the channel. So hey, until next time, take care of yourselves. We'll talk again real soon.